Hey everybody, this is Jared here, coming to you today with the edit mode tutorial of the MainStage template. Again, for some of you this may be a quick refresher. For others of you this may be the first time you've ever seen this page, kind of seen MainStage, and that's okay. We are here to walk you through every part of this template, what every knob does, what every slider does, how you can utilize that, and get you very, very familiar with this program before we throw it at you and say, here you go. We want you well equipped. We want to serve you well. Again, if you don't have a copy of MainStage, talk to your worship pastors. We would love to provide this for you. We want to bless you with this. You guys are serving us well, and as a church, we want to bless you. We want to give you this. It's a $30 program. However, it equips you. It allows you to practice. It allows you to, better craft your skill, and that's something we would like to do for you. We can also send you this template, allow you to go through the sounds, kind of see what we're using on a typical Sunday, and let you just play through those things. So, in talking about edit mode, this is the standard mode that MainStage is going to open with. So when you click and open the master template, this is what you'll see. And you can use this mode live. We'll talk about that a little bit later when we're talking about perform mode and edit mode and live use. But typically this is where you would go to test sounds, kind of actually assign functions to a mode within the program, which we'll talk about, and kind of just to play around with the software. So the first thing that you need to do on a Sunday when you're looking at edit mode is you're going to want to test all of your knobs, all of your faders, all of your buttons to make sure that you're getting proper USB signal. That is the first thing that I do every time that I open up the program when I'm using a different controller than my own. I want to make sure that it works great. I want to make sure that everything's functionable. So we'll start with our knobs here, and to quickly show you how to do that, as you can see that they're right here. Everything on this is labeled for you, so you know exactly what it is and exactly what it does. It's also labeled on your MPK 261s at your respected campus. We're going to label those for you. So you can very easily see it in both low light and highlight. Any colors that we use, the gaff tape color, it's very bright and you should be easily able to see that. So the first thing that we're going to test is the latch cutoff. So in the top left hand knob on your MPK 261, you can see you just twist that and you make sure you got signal. Same thing with your pad shimmer, pad reverb. Synth cutoff, we've actually assigned that to the mod wheel that you guys are familiar with, and that's where that is, very easy to control. Same thing with our latch octaves and intervals, and we'll talk a little bit more about those within the drone tools, the latch pad video a little bit later. And of course, your master volume you want to make sure is functioning. And then, of course, as you can see, our latch pad volume control on the bottom left there is moving. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the latch pad section. So now that all of your controllers are working, they're assigned correctly, you can actually go through and kind of play around with this at your house. If you have some spare time in between services, you want to mess around with it. Perfectly fine. So again, we'll send you a copy of this just to play around with. In edit mode, this is where you create patches. So each one of these is what's called a patch. And they're actually categorized into different sections. So we have our leads, poly pads, worship pads, omnisphere samples, and organs. So go through, just play around with these, see the different leads, see the different pads, kind of play around with it, get a feel for it. We'll just quickly walk you through some of the ones that we've actually used on live settings. We've actually used these in the studio. Very, 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 very warm, rich. They all sound amazing. So check some of these out. So this one is one that we've used recently. Actually, we've used it for Wonder from the Wasteland. So in the chorus, you're playing the piano, you'll come across a patch double that sounds a little bit like this. So yeah, let's actually open up the synth cutoff there. And as you can see, it would sound a little bit brighter. You can see that we've used that in the chorus. It's doubled. Sounds very punchy, very, very big. We've used that one. This is actually one of my favorites. It's called the Super Saw. Very, very Coldplay-esque. See if you guys can guess which tune this is from. Again, very, very big, very, very bright, just kind of in your face. Sounds really, really good. Worship pads. So we've got a ton of these. Just go through, check them out. One of my favorite sections. This is actually one of my favorite pads here. It's the soft and warm. I use it a lot of times in very, very powerful moments. It's very, very big. It's very wide. It sounds really, really good. Check this out. As you can see, it's a very, very big pad. It's very, very wide. It sounds incredible. Go through and check some of these out. Just play through them. A lot of them sound really, really good. Omnisphere samples. These are patches we have pulled from Omnisphere. If you're lucky enough to have the program, great. I can send you some of the original samples that I've created, that I've just used over the years. Some of these I've gotten from other people. Very, very good producers. But if you don't, the samples that we're going to provide you in MainStage are perfectly fine. In a mix, it's almost impossible to tell the difference. But again, I do use Omnisphere when I'm using my personal computer, but we're going to provide you with the Omnisphere sampled version. We've got a lot of different pads that you can do. One of the ones we use is the church pad. We use it quite a bit. We use the big Oberheim pad here. It's a very Hillsong style pad. Let's see if you can name the tune that this song is from. Again, kind of that Juno style, just very warm, very punchy, but very, very good worship pad. Cuts through the mix, however, mixes well with other instruments. So just go through, play with those, see what you like, some of the ones that we typically use. And then, of course, we've got our organ section. Some of these are very bright. Some of these are kind of reserved. I may use one of these for songs like Death Was Arrested, kind of like those ballads, slower songs that could really use an organ. And so one of those I use a lot is the Warm Soft. And if you go a little bit further up on the keyboard, you kind of brightens it up just a little bit. So as you can see, very, very warm, kind of just sits in the mix really, really well. But go through those, play with all of the patches, get familiar with them. On a typical Sunday, we will have it song specific, meaning that it'll have the title of the song in the set here, and then it'll say intro, verse, chorus. You won't necessarily know exactly what patches are in it, but we can show you where to look in a little bit later video. But this is going to have all of the patches that you can play around with. Just familiarize yourself with it, and just play around with it and get used to this mode. In a little bit later video, we'll talk about actually assigning functions to the knobs, how to do that at the concert level and the individual patch level. But for now, this is just a quick overview of the edit mode. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Shoot me an email, talk to your campus worship pastor. He can get you in touch with Russell or myself, and we'll get you any questions answered and kind of hope point you in the right direction. Thanks for tuning in, and stay with us for some more awesome content.